Nur Salini binti Abdul Rahman, and I'm holding matric ID DAM 2207010.
Hi, my name is Sanjita. I'm holding matric card number DAM 2207019.
I'm Lorraine. I hold the matric number DAM 2207021.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Ali Bagus. I'm holding the card number D form 2207019.
My name is Muhammad Bijam Muhammad Sufian. My matrix ID is D form 2107981.
Hello everyone and very good morning. I'm Ali Bagus from the Daki News. So today I'm gonna talk to you guys about the incident or tragedy which is Eastern Airlines Flight 401. So the flight was scheduled from the John F. Kennedy International Airport in Queens, New York to Miami International Airport in Miami, Florida. So the aircraft was fleet number 310 and 10 transitor delivery to the carrier. So during holiday, they are using Lockheed L1011-1 3-star when she has been delivered to the airline on 18 August 1972. So the total causing is 101 total fatalities. So the 3 of the 4 cockpit crew members, 2 of the 10 flight attendants, and 96 of the 160 passengers were killed and 75% were survived.
In the tragedy of Eastern Airlines Flight 401, on the December 29th, 1972, there's a tragedy upon Eastern Flight 401. So it's become the tragedy because of the cockpit distraction. During the flight, crew become preoccupied with troubleshooting a malfunctioning landing gear indicator lights in the cockpit. So for the altitude oversight failure, the crew attention to the indicator light causes them to overlook the aircraft altitude, and the plane gradually descend while they are focused on the technical issues. So for the unintentional descent, without realizing the descent, Flight 401 continued to lower the altitude until it crashed into the swampy terrain of the Florida Everglades. So for the crash, approximately 11:42 p.m. Flight 401 crashed, resulting in the loss of 101 lives. That impact occurs in a remote and challenging area of Everglades. For the immediate response, search and rescue operations are initiated immediately to locate survivors and provide assistance in the difficult to reach Everglades environment. For the investigation, a true investigation is conducted to determine the causes of the crash. It is revealed that the crew preoccupation with the indicator lights contribute to the tragedy. So the industry changes. The aviation industry respond by implementing significant changes in the cockpit procedures, crew resource management and training to prevent similar incidents and enhance the overall flight safety. Lastly, for the point, the legacy. The Eastern Airlines Flight 401 crash served as a catalyst for improvement in the aviation safety protocols, leaving a lasting legacy that influenced subsequent advancement and practice within the aviation industry. So that is all for me. Thank you.
In the 1970s, the aviation industry experienced remarkable growth in their technological development. And it was during these times where the industry was transitioning from propeller-driven aircrafts to jet-powered aircrafts. And this change brought upon a lot of changes in several divisions. However, because of these changes and development, the air industry also faced multiple challenges while still trying to adapt to all of this change. So one of the many lack of facilities that affected the accident was because the instrumentation and the systems on the aircraft of that time were not as advanced, nor was it as good or modern as the technology is now. And not only that, but also the lack of advanced warning systems and redundant machinery made it even more difficult for the flight crews to identify the anomalies within the air and to take appropriate actions. So following this, the lack of facilities were also the absence of crew resource management (CRM) regulations and standardized cockpit procedures, and it raised worries about safety because without all of these CRM practices that prioritize efficient communication, teamwork, and to mitigate mistakes, the cockpit crews frequently came across strenuous and stressful situations. So because of this highlighted the need of the improved CRM and crew training and the technological advancements, especially when the Eastern Airlines flight crashed into the Everglades in December, and several reasons including crew preoccupation and human error were identified as contributing to the catastrophe, which further highlights the need of CRM. And this resulted in reformations and initiations within the industry itself to enhance safety protocols and also to prevent similar incidents from occurring again. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about the aftermath of the investigation. So the aftermath of the Eastern Airlines flight 401 causing the Lockheed 13-star crash into the Florida Everglades. This was the first loss and fatal crash for the Lockheed 3-star. This flight was a regularly scheduled flight from the John F. Kennedy International Airport in Queens, New York to the Miami International Airport in Miami, Florida. The main causes of the Eastern Airlines Flight 401 breakdown is by the crew's preoccupation with the malfunctioning landing gear indicator light. The aircraft autopilot disengaged when the crew was troubleshooting the landing gear issue. The National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) conducted this Eastern Airlines Flight 401 breakdown investigation and has identified several contributing factors that causing these crashes. National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) conducted a detailed investigation into the crash and identified several contributing factors, which is the first one is crew distraction, second, cockpit resource management (CRM), and the third one is failure to monitor instrument. But the overall of the Eastern Airlines Flight 401 breakdown is that the crash caused by the pilot error. The failure of the crews that easily got distraction and not focused with their work to monitor the flight instrument during the final minutes of the flight. The flight crew became too fixated with the malfunctioning of the landing gears that they are diverting the attention from the aircraft activity. So that's all.
So the probable causes of this accident has to do more to the human factor than the instrument, because this accident was caused by human factor. So firstly is the failure of the pilots to monitor the flight instrument. Secondly, the preoccupation of the pilots regarding the malfunctioning of the nose gear that was happening on that day. And then thirdly, the pilots were unable to detect the unexpected descent of the aircraft. So let me explain more in detail on how these factors led to the aircraft accident. So firstly, the failure of the aircraft's pilot to monitor the flight instrument. So the pilots were so preoccupied with fixing the nose landing gear, which was not opening at the time of the landing. So they forgot completely about the flight instrument. They forgot to check on the flight instrument, and they couldn't detect the sudden descent of the flight. They were first pilot and captain, also a flight engineer, but three of them were like preoccupied with other stuff. That's why they couldn't monitor the aircraft instrument that can obviously tell them a lot about what is happening in the aircraft. So this aircraft accident led to many implementation in the aviation industry, but the most important implementation was CRM, which is crew resource management. And crew resource management is something that is practiced in civil aviation as well as the common aircrafts and for passenger aircraft mostly. So the crew resource management has many and several factors and phases. So firstly, we're going to discuss about the steep authority gradient. which refers to the authority of the pilot in the cockpit. So before in the 90s, the pilot, the head of the aircraft, obviously the captain, had more authority over the first pilot and also the flight engineer. So the captain would take more responsibility and would be seen as a leader of the aircraft. But this implementation in the crew resource management teaches us that just because we are the first officer doesn't mean that our voice doesn't count. So the first officers are taught not to be hesitant, not to be scared to raise up their voice when they see any kind of miscalculation or any kind of wrongdoings in the cockpit. So next is situational awareness. So basically this factor of crew resource management teaches us that basically the crew in the cabin, it teaches them to be aware of their situation, aware of their surroundings, so that if in case of any emergency they know what to do and how to take actions right immediately. Because when you are aware of your surroundings and you know what's going on, you know how to counter attack the situation. So next is dividing the task, basically reducing your workload. So as pilots, they have a lot of work to do, like monitoring the screens, doing this and that, initiating the communication between them and the ATC. So all this work needs to be divided into the co-pilot and the captain, just so that they can focus on what they are given, like the task they are given, in order to reduce their workload. So reducing workload makes it more efficient for the pilot to work efficiently. So next implementation that was brought to the aviation industry was keeping a bright flashlight in the cockpit. Not basically in the cockpit, but also near the cabin crew seatings. So that during the emergency, when there's a crash at night especially, the cabin crew can use the flashlight to evacuate the passengers out of the aircraft safely. So during this accident, the cabin crew didn't have accessible flashlight with them. That's why it was very hard for them to evacuate the passengers out of the crashed aircraft. So that's why the authorities made it compulsory for the aircraft to have accessible bright flashlight over the compartment of cabin crew, to make it easier for them to do their job in case of emergency. So along with that, the authorities also made it compulsory for the aircraft to have proper instruction and manuals regarding how to use the instrument set it in the aircraft, so that in case of emergency, the pilot doesn't have to ask one another and get confused over what to do. So they can just refer to the manual and fix the problem immediately. So as you can see in the picture, that crew resource management has several aspects. So first we have assertiveness, we have mission analysis, we have leadership, we have decision making, and then flexibility, communication. So all this aspect plays a crucial role in simulating the effective flight operation that we can see nowadays. But missing of any of this element can lead to aircraft accident.